That'll be that. Yeah, buddy. They know what them air horns mean. I mean, Bert's back, Bugatti Bert. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you moved on from Backshot Bert. That's
yeah.
Some problems at home. I'm just,
I heard, man.
Who's calling you that? When did they call you that? I was like,
it's just Jerm. He's just joking. He's just joking,
Yeah, a little jokey
joke. Yeah, there's truth in every joke, but it's fine.
And of course, it can't be a special show. This is kicking off. I'm going to call it our second season, Bert, because NFL, even though we don't do seasons here, I'm going to call it our second season because NFL is now officially started with the Hall of Fame game that nobody watched, but it's the Hall of Fame, signifying that the start of the NFL season. And so this is year 2, and we have Dwayne Marcus from Goat Talk with Marcus with us in this show today. We're going to talk a little NFL season predictions. We're going to give all 7, or I guess all 14 playoff teams. We're going to do anybody who has of the year attached to an award. We're going to predict those top 5, bottom 3 MLB teams. And in honor of Vin Scully, we will do our sports broadcaster Mt Rushmore. And you can follow our guest at GTP Marcus on the Instagram. Help my guy out, man. He's young phenom in the works, doing big things. And so yeah, guys, let's talk about sports.
Sports.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Stuff About Sports. I am the Facebook felon Jerm. With me is the prettier Corey Bert, back from handling business, doing $1 million deals out there in Las Vegas and Los Angeles. And of course, our very special, illustrious guest, Dwayne Marcus from Goat Talk with Marcus. What's up, guys?
What is up? I'm so glad to be back. I am. It was weird, like every Tuesday or Wednesday night, to be like, I'm not really doing anything right now. Like I feel like I should be doing something, but Jerm holding down the fort while I'm away. Obviously, special guests in and out, and being a part of other individuals' podcasts too. Thank you all for the collaboration and network doing big things while I was gone too. You want to talk about serious FOMO, man? Like watching the guys from the Divide and yourself live commentate that Todd Frazier benefit, the Field of Dreams beer pong tournament. I was 30,000 feet in the air when that went live. I was on a plane and paid for the Wi-Fi because I'm baller like that,
balling dollars.
Got it. And just started watching the feed. And the second I started watching, and I was like, son of a bitch, man. I had FOMO to an extreme. It was honestly great interviews in and out. If anybody needs to check it out, you can certainly check it out wherever the podcasts are found, which is everywhere at this point. YouTube, iHeart, all the good stuff, Apple Podcasts, and so on. Sister show, The Divide, doing big things, and of course, always bringing us in, being network family too.
Yeah, that was an excellent event. It was about a 4-hour deal. We had Nikki Cass, social media star,
Frankie
Edgar, a bunch of guys. Todd Frazier was really nice to us. It was a good event. They raised bunch of money, and so it was a good deal, man. And I was very happy to be a part of it. You can check out, speaking of the Divide, you can check them out on Fox Sports The Gambler Radio, 102.5 FM, 104 in Philly, 104.1 FM in Trenton, or like I do it on the iHeartRadio app. Just type in Fox Sports The Gambler Sundays from 12 to 1, and you also can be part of the Divide. Guys, NFL is officially here. Typically, me and Bert do way too early predictions, and we do them like we should have did it like a month ago. It's more fun that way, but the season is about to start. We can do it now. It's all good. I will start with our guest, Dwayne Marcus. I'm trying to figure out how we want to do this. I think we should just give your 7 straight up, and then we'll just go around the horn, and then we'll go to the other topics.
We're gonna put them in order, or just name the 7?
If I'm gonna do them in order, but we're gonna do the NFC first. And
NFC
then
first?
we'll circle around, and then we'll do AFC, and then we'll circle back and do of the years. So
should I include my record or just list the 17?
No, just list. I didn't do records. Yeah.
Okay. So my 7 for the NFC are in order, 1 to 7: Rams, Bucks, Packers, Eagles, Cowboys, Saints, and Vikings.
Ooh.
I think that the Cowboys and the Eagles could switch. Just depends on who wins the division there.
Yeah.
But I really like what the Saints are doing and what they could have. I know I'm like higher on Jameis Winston than most people are, but like I think the offense can be really good this season, especially when you're considering you're getting Michael Thomas back fully healthy. You bring in Chris Olave. I don't think there'll be a drop off with the run game because they brought in Mark Ingram for that first for however many games. If Alvin Kamara does get suspended, it's crazy to think that that's kind of been gone under the radar with all the stuff with Deshaun Watson. And a defense that's finished top 10 the past couple seasons adds Tyrann Mathieu, who is one of the best defensive players in football. Only makes that defense that much better. I think they're a team that's slept on that I think could make the playoffs this season.
Nice. Bert?
Yeah, some similar, actually quite different though. No particular order at all, although my number one is the Packers. Aaron Rodgers has to continue to prove that he's worth all that money at that age. So I actually went Packers, Cowboys, Bucks, Cardinals, and then Giants because I'm a homer. Minnesota, because I have a feeling year over year they have just been on that cusp, and like even last year, I think it was dropping like 6 or 7 games by a field goal, which I know every point, every yard matters, but I just feel like they're almost due. And throwing this in here because I believe in my boy Baker, I'm going with the Panthers too.
Yeah.
I honestly think he can certainly provide that spark to turn that team around. Again, it's really going to be in part on whether or not he stays healthy, but also in the backfield, Mr. Christian McCaffrey stays healthy as well, which we know it is a complete crapshoot. But if everybody's good, I'm hopeful that that is the case.
So very similar. I think I have the Rams as the number 1 overall seed, and then the Buccaneers, Packers. I went Eagles, and then I went Vikings as the 5th seed. I went 49ers as the 6th seed, and I also went the Panthers as my 7th and last final playoff team. So here's hoping. I'm sure I have to see Jameis do it. You know what I mean? I have to see him stay healthy. It's always and I think that's why Jameis always gets the benefit of the doubt, is because he is uber talented. Yeah. But all these years, like, what has he done? Like, it's just the same old story with him, man. Like, I just can't put any faith in anything Jameis is doing. And Walt Dog 1 2 3 4, what up, brother? He says Giants and Panthers are tanking. I don't know. Trading. I don't know about the Giants. I think the Giants are rebuilding. I desperately want to put them in the wild card spot. I didn't put the Cowboys in the playoffs. Like I said, I threw the Panthers in there because big Baker fan. I honestly was going to put the Lions in there. I believe I have
the Lions winning 7 games this season. Their ceiling's 9 to me. I think they're a sneaky good team. Like
good team. The one Panthers, I don't know. I don't know if the Panthers are tanking because they just traded for Baker Mayfield. That's not a tank. To me, that's not a tank move. You didn't need to trade for a quarterback, let alone a quarterback of Baker Mayfield's ilk. So I don't see them tanking. But spoiler alert, Dan Campbell is my game ball because I watched the first episode of Hard Knocks.
Such a great episode.
Awesome episode. The first 5 minutes, I was about to run through a wall. Dan, I'm rooting. Me and Bert we're Giants and Bills fans, but we're low key rooting. I believe you could be a fan of a team and then root for another team or a player. Yeah. And in this instance, it's not really we're rooting for the Lions. We're rooting for Dan Campbell. And so I hope I don't expect them to like win the division or go to the playoffs and make a deep run. But as long as they continue to just take steps forward, that's good. It seems like the city and the players, more importantly, are buying in more so than a long time. So I'm just shocked that they stuck with Jared Goff. Bakers for show. Probably, man. You might be right about that. That
means they're paying 3 or 4 quarterbacks for show. Then I mean, like it just does because they're still paying Teddy. So it's like,
yeah,
that's crazy. So AFC. Go ahead, Dwayne. Yep.
I mean the one team that was just so easy for me for the AFC was the Bills. Because I was just washing the entire league this season. I don't even think it's really that much of a debate. But so my other 3 division winners are Bengals, Chargers, and Colts. I have the Chiefs at 5 just because I think even though the AFC West is tough, Kansas City's worst season under Patrick Mahomes was last season. They won 12 games. You're gonna have to win at least 12 games to win the division. I think Kansas City can still figure out a way to pull 12. And then I'm honestly dead locked with the Patriots, the Raiders, and the Ravens. I have them all at 10 and 7. Have the Ravens and the Raiders making the 6 and 7 spot. What's interesting about those three teams is that New England plays both the Raiders and the Ravens this season. The Ravens and the Raiders do not play each other. So those two games for both of those teams against New England are much more important, especially if they kind of stay close down the stretch, because they won't have a tiebreaker against each other aside from playing the Patriots. But I do have the Patriots missing the playoffs because I just don't. They'll be the same as they were last season. I don't know if it's enough to get them back in the playoffs because the AFC is just too stacked this year.
All right, Bert.
Yeah, I would say fairly similar, to be honest with you. I have Bills, Bengals, Titans, the Chargers winning the AFC West, with Kansas City as a wild card, but also throwing in the Colts because I believe in Matt Ryan, and the Raiders because I have an infinite soft spot for Derek Carr. I don't know what it is. Man, I just want to see that kid succeed. I will say, after being in Vegas and seeing that stadium, it's fucking awesome. Even just the outside looking at it, like the way it is with the strip, it's just, dude, it's unbelievable. But that would be my AFC go.
Man, so number one seed, obviously, no bias. Buffalo
No
Bills.
bias at all.
No biases at all.
None, yeah.
I have the Bengals AFC North. I have the Colts winning the AFC South. I have the Broncos winning the AFC West with the Chiefs. I'm trying to think. I'm gonna leave the Ravens out of the playoffs. I'm gonna have them missing the playoffs. I really am. I think I'm gonna go Chargers instead, and so I'm gonna have 3 AFC West teams in the playoffs because I just think the Raiders are top heavy, right? Besides Devontae, I mean they have Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, and Derek Carr. I mean, they have good talent, but the defense of the other teams are just too much. I think that's what it's. That's what it is. No Miami. I don't know if you saw the pass that what's his name? Tua Tagovailoa threw today. I'm not very sure that
the only thing that video was missing was like a dubbing over of the perfect spiral, because that was a wonky fucking pass to no one. So I don't know what Tariq Hill's talking about, like best he's ever seen, because that was. And I
have no faith in Tua whatsoever.
But like, oh yeah, I'm with you.
I wouldn't be surprised if. I don't think it will happen, but like if we show up at one point and the news is like, yeah, well, Teddy Bridgewater starting this week, I'm like, yeah, well, I expect it to happen. I just have no faith in Tua at all.
I don't know how anybody does. I said, I believe on Justin's show, and it might have been your show. And shout out Dwayne Marcus. He had his 200th. Was it 200th episode? Was it?
No, 200's coming up. It was the 2-year episode.
2-year episode. I knew it was 2 something. I was at the firehouse and I jumped in real quick because nothing was going on, and I had to leave at the very end. But he had some technical difficulties, but it was a cool.
Aside from my wacky internet not wanting me to be great, show was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. And I forgot where I was going with that, so I'll just move on. There was something I said on that show about what we were talking about, but I wanted to shout out Dwayne real fast. But Walt says the Las Vegas Stadium is a thing out of the future. It looks like something out of the future on TV, so I can't imagine what it looks like in real life. Yeah, but anyway, I have the Bills and the Bucks in the Super Bowl, guys. I don't know about if you guys pick Super Bowl winners or if you want to just throw a thing out there. I think Josh Allen will slay Tom Brady. He will be the one to slay Tom Brady. Tom Brady, the old best quarterback in the league, to Josh Allen, the new best quararterback in the league. What do you guys think?
I feel like the Bills are due, and Jerm, I think we talked about this. If not the last show, was on a couple shows before that. The Bills, they are due every year. They get closer and closer and closer. So I would think it has to be their year. Hopefully, I mean the Bucks are always in it, right? And we know Tom's whole situation. Are you retiring? Are you not retiring? Are you doing this just solely to say fuck you, Adam Schefter? And knowing that he still essentially had 1 year left. So this, for all intent and purpose, could be his last season, like officially.
Yeah.
So I mean, I honestly think like if if he makes it to the Super Bowl and it's against the Bills, sorry, buddy, Tom's on a mission to go out on top. But I like the Bills. I would say Bills Bucks, if not, shit, man, maybe Bills Packers.
Stop it.
Sorry.
No.
I mean, I honestly, I don't. I mean, when you're looking at the NFC, I mean, he's got to be Packers, Bucks,
Yeah.
potentially Cardinals if
I
Kyler's
have no
worth what
faith
they
in the
say
Arizona
he's worth.
Cardinals
But
whatsoever.
No, I mean the only teams realistically for me that are in the NFC are the Rams,
yeah,
the Bucks.
That's
I
it.
can't-
No, that's
Yeah.
it.
I mean, yeah, like,
Rams and the
like
Bucks. That's it.
but yeah, so those are the ones that I expect to be there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers got there. I probably wouldn't be
I mean,
surprised.
listen, it's been so long. I'd love to see the Packers
Yeah.
in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'd absolutely love it. But I mean, if I'm just being realistic, I'd have to I have the Bills and the Rams going to the Super Bowl. I saw a graphic Sunday Night Football on NBC. They posted like a graphic of the top 5 Super Bowl odds, and the Packers are top 5 in the NFL. It's like to make the Super Bowl, it's like 21% or something like that, and to win it, it's like 12. So like apparently we have a higher win percentage than we have a higher chance to make and win the Super Bowl than the Chiefs and the Rams, which doesn't make any sense to me. Because we're
That's
better,
amazing.
we're not better than the Rams, but I guess you can say we're better than the Chiefs. I believe in the offense and I believe in the defense. The playoffs just always, it's just like, what are you gonna do? Like, yeah, we'll win 12, maybe 13. I have us going 12. Like, we'll win 12, maybe 13 this season, and then we'll pull a bad matchup and we'll be right back where we were last season. Aaron Rodgers like, I don't know what to do, man. And then it's just like this whole thing. So I'd love to see the Packers in the Super Bowl. It'd be fantastic. But if I'm just being realistic, I can't even get my hopes up. I got into a 30-minute argument with Justin on Blaine's show about whether or not this was a Super Bowl or bust year for the Packers, because I just don't see how you could.
It's not, but so in terms of what, like, if Aaron Rodgers wins one more Super Bowl, does that change the narrative of Aaron Rodgers?
Oh.
No. Aaron Rodgers, for his ability as a quarterback, because Bert and we talked about this before. Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen play the position of quarterback in the NFL. However, he is severely underachieved. He, based on his talent, should have, I'm not going to go crazy and say as many as Brady, but he should have at least 4 to me. Like, I think Brady has just spoiled what we define as greatness, but
he should have at least 4 appearances for sure. He
100%.
should have been there even if he doesn't have the 4 rings, he should have at least been there 4 times.
He should be a perennial Super Bowl. He should be in
course.
Tom Brady's league as terms of perennial Super Bowl appearance guy.
Of course.
And so him winning another Super Bowl isn't going to change that for me. So I don't know what but or bust means for the Packers or Aaron Rodgers. Like, would it be nice to have on his resume? Sure. But it's still just, all it's going to change is but he only has 1 Super Bowl. It's just going to be like, but he only has 2 Super Bowls. Like, that's the only thing that's going to change for him. It's, for me, it's Super Bowl or bust for the Bills. I mean, they've invested so much into that team to build around Josh Allen. They have a bunch of contracts that need to be paid. It's like, this is the window for them, right? It's Super Bowl or bust for, maybe like the Cowboys, like, because it's always Super Bowl or bust for the Cowboys, right? Because they always invest all this money. It's Super Bowl or bust for the Broncos, right? They traded for Russell Wilson. Like, this is,
I think the Broncos are going to be last in the division this season too.
I think we're underrating how good Russell Wilson is. I think we're overrating how good the Chiefs and the Chargers are.
For me, it's not a Russell Wilson thing. It's just like for me, it's an overhaul thing. Like, they completely overhauled everything. New head coach, new OC, new DC. Like, the talent's there, but I think they could stumble. I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos stumble out the gate and then kind of they're behind the 8 ball for the rest of the season, especially because the rest of the West is going to be competitive. Maybe not the Raiders, because to your point, what's really left once you get past Waller and Adams and Renfro and all those guys. But like the Chiefs and the Chargers, this is their division to lose. I don't know if the Broncos can compete with them necessarily, and I think that could be their downfall, is the games within the division that could be their undoing and keep them out of the playoffs.
It's funny that Bill Belichick said that Mac Jones is making great improvements. He's a totally different player. But then all the other reports are saying today that the Patriots offense looks awful. They can't get it together, and they're worse than they were last year. So that's why, like, when you said the Patriots, I was just like, like the Belichick is going to get that pass for at least another 2 years of just automatically throwing him into some shit because he's Bill Belichick, and I guess he's earned it. But just like I told you guys on Justin's show, the head coach in football, severely overrated position, much like the manager in baseball. If you have Tom Brady and you have good players, they will overcome bad coaching every time. The Bills, that was their coaching mistake. That 13 seconds that Sean McDermott cost the team by not changing their defense, that's not Josh Allen's fault. That's on the coach and the defense. But Josh Allen did everything he needed to do on the field to win that game, to the point where they made sure that would never happen again by changing the overtime rules. So, yeah. All right. So I got the Bills, Bucks in the Super Bowl. You brought up Devontae Adams. So that brings me to Offensive Player of the Year. I will go and say it's going to be Devontae Adams. I think they traded for the best receiver in football. They're going to make sure he gets his, and it's going to come out. And even if they don't win games, he's going to have monster stats. And so I am picking Devontae Adams to be Offensive Player of the Year.
Nice. I had him on my list for sure, and then I quickly took him off. And I know a lot of individuals may have this person I'm about to say is comeback player of the year, but I honestly think he's just going to win Offensive Player of the Year outright, and that's Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
I think he's poised to come back with a vengeance. He, I mean, potentially could get both. But I got another one in my comeback. So.
Okay. Derrick Henry could possibly break the single season rushing record. I'm with you there. Like if he does that, then yeah, I mean, it's going to be nuts to see. Like the Titans are a weird one, man. Like it feels like their window's closed, but you can't really say that until you see a year of Derrick Henry back before. Yeah. I mean, losing AJ Brown hurts, but to be honest, man, it wasn't like he was doing much for them anyway. Like there was like by committee over there. Like it wasn't like he was like the main guy over there. Like I feel like you can get anybody to catch the ball. So we'll see how that goes. Go ahead, Dwayne.
So my offensive player of the year was tough. I had to base it off of my MVP. I think we all know who's going to be the MVP of the league this season. But my offensive player of the year, my offensive player of the year is who I think is going to be the runner-up to my MVP. I have Justin Herbert being my boy this season. Justin Herbert has thrown more passing yards and more passing touchdowns than any quarterback in the first 2 years in the history of football. I think he's going to continue like that ascension. And I think when you look at this Chargers offense, I think it's extremely underrated. I don't think Keenan Allen and Mike Williams get their flowers enough. Austin Eckler doesn't really get a lot of love. They have a fantastic offensive line, I think, and they bolstered it up by like drafting for depth, which you don't really see teams draft for depth for the offensive line, but the Chargers did that to keep it versatile and to keep it flexible so that, you know, injuries or anything like that happens, they're still good. But Justin Herbert's fantastic, and I don't think he'll do enough to win MVP because I don't think his team will do enough to win MVP, but I think him alone will be more than enough to be Offensive Player of the Year. I think he could go for 5,045 this season.
All right, let's snake that. Go ahead with Defensive Player of the Year.
Myles Garrett.
That was mine, man.
Make that a hat trick, boys, because that's mine as well.
Of all the awards, this one was the easiest for me, just because with everything that's going on the other side of the ball in Cleveland, like this defense is going to have to be spectacular for them to win a handful of games so that they still, you know, warrant the paychecks that all of them have. And Myles Garrett, I think, me personally, is he is, I would say, the third best defensive player in football, in my opinion. And I think he's going to have a monster year. I think I don't know if he'll have a TJ Watt like season last season where we're talking about him maybe breaking a record or getting close to it, but I think he'll have a strong season. But he's going to be the reason why the Browns stay relevant, but also like stay grounded with all the stuff that's going on with D Watts on the other side. So I have Myles Garrett winning DPOY this season.
They got Deshaun Watson playing in this preseason,
which I think is absolutely absurd that he's allowed to play preseason football. But
it makes zero sense. Absolutely zero sense at all. Yeah.
Makes no sense.
But hey, they got to get him out there. It's probably the only chance you're going to get to see him. And I mean, they got to know, right? Like, I don't know.
I mean,
it's
dude,
weird.
it'll be interesting to see what the reaction is going to be from the fans. I mean, that's for sure. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's awful. Like, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah.
Bert, who's your defensive player of the year?
Same. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. You said
we're all,
right?
Yeah, we're all in agreement. It was tough. It was tough for me to go back to in as much of a monster as he's been, like TJ Watt. When you have someone like Myles Garrett just absolutely beasting it. I mean, for anybody who's not familiar, just Google a picture of him and you're just gonna be fucking terrified. Like, he's just gigantic, and he should be, right? But I mean, you one look at him and you'd be like, oh yeah, it's his. He's winning it. Yeah.
Micah Parsons, sneaky pick for defensive player of the year. Honestly, Randy Gregory. I mean, it feels like he got spurned by the Cowboys. He's brought there to that team in Denver to see if they can go ahead and push for a Super Bowl. Mike says, "Nice to hear Bert again. Welcome home."
Thank you. Thank
it is
you,
good
buddy.
to hear. It is good to hear Bert, man.
My thing for Micah, I do have Micah listed on so I've got this like Excel sheet where I kind of like wrote everything out for me so I can help me with show planning down the line. I do have Micah Parsons as my dark horse. My one concern with Micah Parsons is because they lost a couple pieces defensively, did Dallas. I don't know if they'll be able to kind of like plug him all around the defense in the front seven like they did last season. And so I don't know if he'll still have that same impact. If he does, though, I think he could definitely be in the conversation for MVP because he's uber talented and he's a freak athlete. And he's just amazing. Even though he did fall off a bit in the second half as far as his sack numbers are concerned, he did play really good football for a rookie at that position with that defense. It's possible, but I don't know. I think the absence of Randy Gregory hurts Micah Parsons a lot because that's one less person that offensive lines have to worry about of making sure so that's an extra person they can now send Micah Parsons away. And we'll have to see what Micah looks like against double teams now because we all know they're coming.
All right. Bert, you said that your comeback player of the year is Derrick Henry. Mine is going to be Chase Young. I believe in Chase Young's ability. Washington needs something. So I'm going to go ahead and just give it to Washington. They need something. And they got Carson Wentz at quarterback, so it definitely going to be the offense. I'm going to go ahead and from all accounts from what I've read, Chase Young's been killing it at camp. So I'm going to go out on a limb and just say Chase Young will be the comeback player of the year. Go ahead, Dwayne.
Can't go wrong with that. I love Chase Young. Chase Young's a good dude. Mine was tough. And in the beginning, I was like, oh, this is Saquon easy. Like when I was going through for myself and doing it, I really thought it was going to be Saquon. But Saquon just like his health has always just kind of been like the big thing. Obviously, that's why he's in the conversation for comeback player of the year. I don't know I love Saquon. I think he's spectacular. So I kind of stepped back from Saquon and I went, well, maybe it'd be Christian McCaffrey because like he's still really, really, really good at what he does. Then I kind of came off of that and I found myself picking Michael Thomas to be comeback player of the year.
It's just you never know when he's going to play.
With Michael Thomas is one, when he's going to play, and two, he hasn't played in a year, so there's that. But this season will also be his first season with Jameis Winston, and they don't have any
chemistry,
on-field chemistry at all. I think that could probably cause some troubles. I do think, though, that because I think the Saints are going to have a big season on both sides of the ball, I think he can still get back to his all-pro form, which is where we saw him at before he was, riddled with injury and missing all this time. So he's my pick. It's a really hesitant pick. I also just kind of neglected to remember that Derrick Henry existed and kind of could qualify for this.
Well, no, I mean, but it's an easy pick because typically comeback player of the year usually goes to the best player coming back from an injury.
Yeah.
Like that's just the historics of it, right? But I mean, Christian McCaffrey's not a bad one because now he has a quarterback that can actually help him. The threat of Baker Mayfield scrambling will open it up before Christian McCaffrey, especially when Cam Newton went away and they realized that Teddy Bridgewater wasn't going to run the ball and he can't throw the ball. Everything went focused on Christian McCaffrey. Sam Darnold's not going to move. He's supposed to be semi-athletic, but he didn't do any of that. So, but now you have a true baller who will help Christian McCaffrey get those quick check down routes, those quick screen bubble passes. Like a lot of that's going to help. Those the RPOs are going to be nuts down there in Carolina if Matt Rule's smart enough to use them. And
Sure.
so, Christian McCaffrey's a good one. Jameis Winston,
Jameis Winston is also a name that came across my mind as far as like
he's a quarterback. It's always going to be easier because the quarterback can show. He will be able to show his improvement more than the other players because he gets the ball all the time on offense. So
my one concern with Christian though is Baker, when he was in Cleveland, he had like in his career in Cleveland, since he's been in the league, he's had like the 6th lowest check down percentage, which is kind of shocking when you considered who's been in his backfield, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, since he's been there. That's mildly shocking. It'll be interesting to see like if Baker kind of leans on the check down a little more, because he will have Christian McCaffrey in the backfield, who is the best, when healthy, the best dual threat running back in football. If that's the case, though, I mean, and we talk about a situation where Carolina's at least in the playoff picture, not necessarily going to be in the playoffs. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, I think, would absolutely be comeback player of the year, considering that I think the last time we saw him, he did 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards rushing, and he's the only player to do that at that position. So insanely talented is Christian McCaffrey.
Dirty, super dirty.
Yeah.
We'll package offensive and defensive rookies of the year. I will go. I'm gonna give the Jets some love here. I'm gonna go Breece Hall with offensive. That's what you had, Bert. My bad.
No, not that I have. I had him, and then I was like, man, fuck the Jets. Like, I'm not doing this.
Well, when I was doing the season stuff, I can't believe I'm gonna say this. The Jets roster, not terrible. Like, if you look at their roster, they have some players on that team. I don't know if I trust the coach 100% yet. I like Robert Saleh. I just don't know if he's ready to be a head coach. I don't get the Dan Campbell from him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get that he has it figured out. Again, I'm not one of those guys that, hey, let's fire the coach after a year or two. Like, it's hard. It's a hard job. You got to give them. Again, we get spoiled by these young coaches like Sean McVay who come in and have instant success. Zach Thomas, he had that one bad year when Joe Burrow got hurt. And next thing you know, he's in the Super Bowl. We get spoiled by these newer coaches that think that they have to have instant success. Shout out to Sean McDermott, you know what I mean, who did it the right way. He's built little by little, and now he has a contender. But the Jets roster is not awful. It'll be interesting. I have Breece Hall as my offensive player, and I have Aiden Hutchinson, who I thought was the best player taken in the draft. Is the best defensive player in the draft, and he's going. And I think Detroit's defense is going to be good. I'm not going to say great. I think it's going to be good, and I'm going to go with Aiden Hutchinson as my defensive rookie. Go ahead, Dwayne.
I agree with you on Aiden Hutchinson. I do think Aiden Hutchinson is going to be D-Roy. If not Aiden, then Sauce Gardner. My offensive rookie of the year, I think, is going to be one of these wide receivers. I think it's going to be Chris Olave. It's kind of weird to say that because he's going to be the third option. But I think him being the third option, and given what we know about Jameis Winston as far as him loving to push the ball up the field and kind of just like air it out, that's exactly what Chris Olave does best. That's what he did best in college, and that's likely going to be his role, at least this season. We could see him in like a Amon-Ra St. Brown kind of thing, where like he just kind of takes the NFL by storm the back half of the season when they're, what I think would be their playoff push. And I think that could propel him into O'Roy because he's uber talented. And I think he's in the best situation because no one's really looking for Chris Olave because he's the third wide receiver on the depth chart. Right. Like Garrett Wilson, who's like 1 or 2. You've got Jamison Williams, who's going to miss half the season. When he comes back, he'll likely be their number 1 option. Like, he's like third. Defenses aren't going to be looking for Chris Olave, and he could go for 1,000 this season as a third option, which would be kind of crazy to think about.
Now, I will tell you, there are reports that Jamison Williams is doing a lot better than initially predicted.
Yeah.
There is a small chance that he could be ready for the start of the season.
If he's ready for the start of the season, he'll be my offensive rookie.
I don't know why you would rush him, though. I guess it would just depend on how they start or how they feel, but I wouldn't rush him. He's important. Like, you need to be thinking about 10 years from now, not next year. So I would bring him back slowly. They have other good wide receivers, so I wouldn't rush him. You have Amon St. Brown still there, so I wouldn't go crazy rushing him. Bert, what about you?
I share the same with Dwayne Marcus here in terms of offensive. A lot of the reasons I agree with, and I understanding like, yeah, he's third in depth chart, but I mean, knowing what we know about Jameis, I mean, there's a lot of potential to just kind of jump up, grab the ball, get the yards, and go from there. Defense, I actually went with Trayvon Walker. He looked good in the Hall of Fame game for what it's worth, but overall, I think Jacksonville's a good spot. You know, he's going to be getting the reps on defense, so yeah. I honestly think it's a good spot for him to shine and grow into his own.
All right, I think we got 3 more, right? MVP or 2 more, MVP and Coach of the Year. Dwayne Marcus, why don't you go ahead and give us your MVP?
Oh, Josh Allen. That's easy.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
I do think it really is, because I don't know if I have told Jerm this. I do have the Bills going 15-2 this season. Like right now, unofficially with all my predictions, I usually throw an extra loss in there just because there's always that one game you don't see coming. So unofficially, it's 14-3. Like the only 2 games I see the Bills losing, and I'll pull it up right now. The only 2 games I see the Bills losing this season is, where are the Bills on here? Is week 1 in LA, just because I think that's like a big emotional game for LA. It'll be ring night, and they could lose that game because it's in LA. And then the game against New England, because that's the only team in the division that could beat them. One of those games. If I'm being realistic, though, I wouldn't be at all shocked if the Bills go into LA and smack the Rams around on ring night. In fact, I'd love for the Bills to smack the Rams around on ring night.
Make sure you wear socks on that night, because they're going to get blown off, just like the Bills are going to blow off the roof off of that non-air conditioned stadium that the LA built.
I really do think, though, that this is Josh Allen's year, right? Bert mentioned earlier how like the Bills have always kind of like got like just a little bit better each season of the past couple of years. I think this is hopefully the season they kind of bring it all together. Josh Allen, I think, is the best quarterback in football. I think he and Stephon Diggs are the best 1-2 punch in the wide receiver position. I think with Devontae Adams, at least now being in Las Vegas, they've kind of taken over that helm as being the best 1-2 punch from quarterback to wide receiver. And I'm not all that concerned about Brian Daboll being gone, because Josh Allen is still great. Stephon Diggs is still great. And the Bills offense, as pass happy as it is, there seems to be, to me anyway, like, as games and weeks have gone by, it seems to be that each and every week there's a little bit more finesse and a little bit more calm and command from Josh Allen at the quarterback position, which is not something a lot of young quarterbacks have in this league, like just the ability to command and keep the temperature of the offense at a very reasonable rate so that things aren't going crazy. But I definitely think this is Josh Allen's year. I know he's sick of seeing Patrick Mahomes host AFC Championship games and go to Super Bowls, right?
He's sick of it.
And I know for a fact, as much as I was super high on the Bengals last season, I know for a fact that the Bengals and the Bills went head up in the AFC Championship game. The Bengals would have gotten smacked around for sure. It wouldn't have even been a contest. So I mean, that's unfortunate. That's a tough thing for me to admit as a fan of Joseph Lee Burrow, right? But this is, I think, Josh Allen's season. I think he runs away with MVP, and it's going to be, I think, probably one of the greatest MVP seasons we've ever seen from Josh Allen this season. And no, Jerm did not pay me money under the table. No. There's no hush money involved in that.
No. Stuff About Sports promotes free thought, and everybody's willing to have their own. Bert, how about you?
Look, I think Mark said, he made a great argument. Josh Allen, absolutely. I'm anticipating him to have an MVP season. I'm also anticipating him, that MVP, to basically elude him one more time, because I wholeheartedly feel that Tom Brady is going into his last year and they're going to hand him an MVP even if he sucks all year anyways. So listen, the pessimist realist in me is thinking like, oh, let's let him go out. Like, Tom Brady, give him the MVP. We love him so much. Yeah, greatest of all time. I get it. Josh Allen will have a phenomenal year. I think Tom Brady is back as your MVP though. Dude, he's coming back with it. Like, you don't retire and then come out of retirement just to suck. You don't. Like, you don't do that at all.
Well, Tom's not going to suck, but I don't know if Tom will be in the MVP conversation. I think the MVP conversation is at first I thought it was a 2-horse race. Now I think it's a 4-horse race. I think it's Dak, Herbert, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson, just because Lamar Jackson has something to prove.
Oh my
Um,
God. You put Dak
yeah.
Prescott,
No,
Yeah.
no Cowboys. We don't
Yeah.
promote the Cowboys on this show. Sorry.
That's fine.
and Lamar in there too. I mean, overtime.
I could see Brady's, but Brady really isn't. I mean, how many times does Brady have to do it to us, right? Like, and,
Yeah,
and he has
sure.
Julio Jones now. Like, he has the
I
weapons
know.
to make him look really good. And so I'm not gonna turn my nose up at Tom Brady. Justin
You can never
Herbert
turn
put
your
up.
nose up at Tom Brady.
You said what?
You can never turn your nose up at Tom
No,
Brady.
no, you can't. So I'm not gonna. I can see it. It's just I Josh Allen is destined to do this. He was the best quarterback in the league last year. He stiff armed Aaron Donald to the ground,
Yeah,
bro.
dude.
Like,
That's
it's, I mean, what
wild.
are we talking about here?
That was his
And-
Heisman moment.
It was his Heisman moment. And so you can't, there's no holes in his game. Like, nobody has done anything really to stop Josh Allen, right? You can't say that he had a bad game last year. Like, maybe he had a game where he threw one more interception than he normally does, or two, but he still had hundreds of passing yards and 100 rushing yards and multiple touchdown passes. So yeah, maybe he threw an extra interception, but most of those weren't his fault. It wasn't like he was turning over the ball at like a high clip. And even if the teams lost, it wasn't because of Josh Allen. It just, like what was the one blowout we had? It's just nothing went our way. Like, it was just, and Josh Allen still had a good game. It's just one of those games, like Dwayne was saying, that it just got out of control. Like, you can't help that. Sometimes that happens. So that's why not only is Josh Allen my MVP, the Bills are also my Super Bowl winner,
there.
which leads me to my coach of the year and Sean McDermott, head coach of the Buffalo Bills, trifecta for
Super
the Buffalo
unbiased.
Bills.
Super
unbiased. You're lucky Von Miller should have been my defensive player of the year.
Man, they don't even have Sean McDermott listed in the Vegas odds right now.
Oh, I know. And he never will be. Like, right. So, like, I mean, the coach of the year, it'll probably go to like a Brandon Staley.
He's leading it right now.
I'm sure,
and
he
everybody
is.
else
Which
is basically gridlocked. But I mean, they have our boy Dan Campbell up there. They have Brian DeBall up there.
If Dan Campbell gets the Lions to the wild card, I'm not going to go crazy and say wins the division, but if he gets the Lions to the playoffs, he will be the coach of the year. 1,000%.
Yeah,
absolutely.
1,000%.
Absolutely.
Mike jinxed. He says huge Bills fan myself. He jinxed the Bills. He was texting me during that 13 seconds. Everybody was calling me. I was out of my mind off of that Terramana rock tequila. I was going nuts in my house.
Don't sleep on that Reposado, man. That shit is good.
Let me tell you, buddy, I was going nuts. I was so mad at that game, bro. I didn't even want to have sex with my wife, who tried to offer consoling sex. I didn't want it. I stayed up all night. It bothered me so bad.
We were like, don't look at me.
I was like, no.
Get
I was
away
like,
from
go to
me.
bed. I sat on the porch. I just looked outside.
Losers don't deserve this.
Basically, yeah. I don't even deserve you, girl. And so
Deserve you.
it was a bad time. So who do you have as coach of the year, Bert?
I honestly, I had Dan Campbell just because he's the man. And you said it before, like he is a football guy. And that's what I think that's what I want to see in a coach. I want to see a football guy, not just a guy that like knows his football like a Belichick, but a guy that for damn sure is in that locker room. He's sleeping when the guys sleep, he's eating with the guys, like he's doing everything with that team to make sure that team builds and builds and builds. He's never going to lose that locker room ever.
No.
So I'm rooting for him. I am. I was shocked to see Brian DeBall on that list, to be honest with you. They're putting a lot of stock in the New York Giants right now.
Man, they are.
As someone who is a New York Giant fan who recently purchased their retro jersey for Michael Strahan right before this show, because I felt the need to spend more money for some reason. And that's the first time I've bought a Giant jersey since Victor Cruz's rookie season, by the way. So we're talking at least 7-8 years ago. So I am optimistically hopeful, but not delusional. So I mean, for them to even list him in it. So honestly, that's why I went with Dan Campbell. I was like, I have to go with him. After watching Hard Knocks, after knowing everything he does, the shirts he's wearing, the way the team is right now and what they're feeling, man, if it would be a huge disappointment if that team comes out and does absolutely nothing. So
Dwayne?
The easy answer is Sean McDermott, and let's be honest, I did put some money down on Sean McDermott because it's like,
buddy.
Hey.
But I think that there is a chance that one of these first year head coaches wins coach of the year. I think it's going to be Dennis Allen. I think he's the guy that's in the best position because he's not in a new place. He's been their DC for forever. He was interim head coach last season, when Sean Payton was out with COVID and coached a fantastic game. I think that was the game against the Bucks when they blanked the Bucks. He has a good team on offense and on defense, and he doesn't have to worry about the offense. He only really has to worry about the defense. He's still going to be calling the defense because he was their DC. And if the Saints make the playoffs and improve with the return of Michael Thomas, obviously you have Chris Olave. If Chris Olave does well, and of course if Jameis Winston plays a solid full season of football this season, and we're talking about them in the playoffs, I think Dennis Allen could maybe sneak up on Sean McDermott and steal it. But this is, like we've been saying pretty much for the last 45 minutes, this is like the Bills this season to just do it all. Like, give offensive rookie of the year to James Cook. I'm sure they drafted defense somewhere. Give him defensive rookie. Right? Go ahead and give Von Miller defensive player of the year because the Bills,
Kyer Elam. Yep, say his name.
The Bills they're just gonna own the. It's hard to foresee a scenario where we're not talking about the Bills come Super Bowl Sunday. It's extremely difficult. I don't. It's just too much, dude. Just too much.
I think it would be incredibly disappointing. I mean, and as fans of football, it would be disappointing to see them come up short again. I can't think of another team that has been that close so many times where you just feel bad for. Oh, wait, yes, I can. The Bills.
The Bills. I'm about to say, yeah. Trust me, bro. I can tell you exactly. Who.
Oh, so yeah. Man. What Bills stand? Boy, I love losing Super Bowls. Is that
boy,
what
I love
it is?
losing Super Bowls.
That's good.
I know what Bert was doing out in Vegas on the West Coast. He was out there working for
liberal media
for having that awful Bills take. So yeah, that ran a lot. I mean, that was awesome. Those are our predictions. We'll revisit. I will sift through and I will put this on paper and we will see how good we are. Before we move out of the NFL and into MLB, I do have an announcement. The Bragging Rights Fantasy Football League is back. I opened it up today. The link to join is in our bio at Stuff About Sports. It is first come, first serve. It is 12 teams. We have 6 teams already signed up. There is $100 prize. There is no entry fee. Stuff About Sports is giving $100 to the winner. So if you want to join, hit the link in our bio. The winner, JT and the Don, won last year. So they will get to choose their draft spot. So the winner gets the $100 and gets to choose their draft spot for the next year. And then the winner of the consolation bracket will get to choose their draft spot. That way there's something to play for all the way through to the end. So that's that.
Is the draft day for that set already?
It is not. Once I get all the teams set, I will do the draft order. And then it'll be the last week of preseason. I don't draft. I'm not one of these idiots out there that draft. I know of a guy who drafted already, and Tim Patrick got hurt and is out for the season.
And so drafting at the beginning of August.
They drafted at the Hall of Fame game, the night of the Hall of Fame game, because it was the first night of football. I was like, that is anybody drafting during preseason is an idiot.
Can I take the 7th spot? I tried to click the link earlier and I couldn't do it because my Wi-Fi went out because it's raining really bad over here.
Yeah. We'll try it once the show's over. We'll try to get you. If anything, I'll just send an email, but I will get you. So there are 5 spots left. So sign up. It's a fun thing. It's only for sports podcasts. That's why it's called Bragging Rights. So if you have a sports podcast, go ahead and join. Win some free money. There is no entry fee. It's just something that we all can be part of and promote each other and have some fun talking crap about fantasy football. All right, Bert. Top 5, bottom 3, our favorite thing to do. And this time we are doing it on Major League Baseball. And the only reason I feel this confident into talking our shit is because both of our teams are in the top 5. And they're not 4 or 5. I'll tell you that much, buddy.
No, they're not.
And because I'm a Mets fan, I will say the Mets are the number 2 team. I'm not that delusional and say they're the best. Yeah, we're hot right now, but the Dodgers are on cruise control. They're the best. There's nothing. They half their pitchers could still beat everybody else, and they're all on injured reserve. And it's like I'm not going to be delusional. The Dodgers are the best. They're just waiting. They're just waiting for October. And then I'm going to go with the Mets, just because the Mets smacked the Yankees last time we played, and so that's going to be my barometer there. Then I will go the Yankees, who a video came out today. They were rubbing something on a ball, Bird. I'm going to find a little bit more out before I bring that story. There's a video of somebody somewhere rubbing something on a baseball on the side, and the announcers went dead quiet. Didn't say nothing. It was on there. I'll send you the video after we're done.
Yeah, please do.
And I said, oh man, I was like, I haven't seen any stories on it. I don't know what it's about. It just came across the Twitter feed, and I was just like, holy shit, Yankees out here cheating. And then I will go Astros, and I will go Blue Jays. Even though, and honestly, it could have been anybody, because only the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers, and the Astros have winning records against 500 and better teams. So the fifth spot to me doesn't really matter that much, because I like the Blue Jays. So I'm gonna go. I mean, I could have went the Braves, the Padres, maybe, I guess, but I Blue Jays. I watched their game more recently than everybody else.
Look,
Nationals,
Padres certainly with the recent acquisition of Soto. I mean, they're going to be built for longevity.
Yeah, but they're 1-5 since he's been there.
I was going to say they're
Right.
not there yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So Tigers, Athletics, and the worst team in the league, the Nationals. Even though the Nationals beat the Mets the other day or last week. So, but that's on my bottom three.
Listen, man, our bottom three is spot on. The Nats, the Tigers, and the Athletic supporters. Good God, are they awful? Our top five was very similar. Yeah, go ahead.
Not to cut you off, can I just say I hate living in DC. Like I'm a Nats fan by proxy, because I don't really. I mean, I follow baseball, but I haven't really, put my hat on a team yet. So I guess I'm a Nat. Watching a Washington Nationals game is I've been developing a list of alternative advanced interrogation options for sports instead of waterboarding or beating. Just strap someone down in a chair, hold their eyes open, make them watch the Washington Nationals play baseball. They'll tell you whatever they need to know, because the Nationals suck.
Oh, they're terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah.
It's a disgrace of a Major League Baseball.
You guys are rebooting, man. You guys are making. Now, I don't know, Anthony Price. Shout out to you. Thank you for dropping a comment. He says you don't think Houston have the best pitchers in MLB. I don't know if he's saying that, or is he thinking I said Houston? If I said Houston, I apologize. I meant the Dodgers. If I said the Dodgers, but no, I think Houston. But Houston is in the top five. So. And he says, "Don't sleep on the Orioles."
I'm going to sleep on them. Sorry. I mean, he might be right. They have a long hill very large hill to climb, though.
The Orioles are not a top 10 team. They're not a top 15 team. Maybe they're a top 15. I lied. They're not a top 10 team, but they're not close to the top 5. They're middle of the pack. I like the Orioles, but I don't. I know. It's
They look on paper they can get there, but I don't know. And I shouldn't be talking shit, because the last time the Yanks played them, they got smacked around too, much like the Mets. The Yanks, for some reason, ever since coming back from the All-Star break, they've been so streaky. They're up and down. They haven't been consistent. But the only thing that has been consistent is Aaron Judge, just fucking hitting monsters. I think hit number 45 today too. But look, our top five very, very similar overall. Ranking slightly different. I kept the Dodgers at top. I did. You have to. They're unbelievable. Side note: their stadium, fucking awesome. It is so cool. It has an old school baseball feel, but still, everywhere you sit or go there, it's a good view. Fans were awesome. Bought myself a hat out there because I was a fan for the day. Honestly, had a really good time. So Dodgers stay up top. I had to put my Yanks at number 2.
Yep, of course.
Even I had to, and then of course, little brother the Mets right below.
Liberal media,
and then the Astros below that. I finished out with the Braves because I mean, look, reigning World Series champs and still looking nasty. They just obviously let their giant fucking teeth sign in LA, and that's why they're doing what they're doing. Freddie Freeman.
What a bum! This guy, Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman.
Only
wanted to stay in Atlanta when he found out that they were going to pay him more money. That's not love.
My God,
get out of here, you bum.
You wanted your cake and you wanted to eat it too. Then
exactly.
Somebody found out about it, and now you're going to fire your agent and blame your agent. Shut the hell up. You signed the contract, bro. If you loved Atlanta so much, you would have taken less money to stay there. Shut the fuck up.
Get a flossing endorsement and call it a day, man.
Yeah, fucking big ass teeth.
Big ass
chiclets. Who's in your bottom 3?
Same as you. The
Okay.
Nats, yeah. Athletics and Tigers.
Gotcha.
And what's even worse about the Nets too is the tickets aren't cheap. So I couldn't even like.
Really? They're still not cheap?
No, I couldn't even like just to say like I'm going to a Nats game for like I couldn't even flex and be like, let's go to a Nats game today and not know anything about baseball, but like it's Nats Stadium. Nope, can't do that because the tickets aren't cheap. And the cheap tickets suck because the stadium sucks.
I like your City Connect jerseys though. They're pretty cool. I like the cherry blossoms.
Yeah.
Oh, they are cool though. They are cool. I want one.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
They are.
Do you have a top 5, bottom 3 MLB?
Nope. My bottom 3 is Nats, and more Nats. They suck. I was talking to my friends about this the other day because I just think it'd be like really, really cool. I, as a sports fan, I'm not really like I watch baseball, but not that much. I, as a sports fan, would love to see the Yankees and the Mets in the World Series. Like just as a sport, I think that'd be incredible. Just to like, because I have some friends that are from New York that like the Yankees and the Mets, and we all play together. So like, just to be in the middle of those arguments is already fun. Just to get a World Series pennant on the line, and let me sit back and eat some popcorn and just watch my friends go to war over baseball, which is a sport that they're not good at. That's what I want to see. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So we mentioned them earlier. Since we're talking baseball, The Divide. You can check them out on Sundays, 12 to 1 p.m. on Fox Sports The Gambler, 102.5 FM in Philly, 104.1 FM in Trenton, or like I do on the iHeartRadio app and Bluetooth it everywhere. And check it out. They do baseball. They've been beefing with the network producer, Sean Brace. It's been really good partnership. Shout out to the network. It's a great show for those who like baseball and like just to give you a hint, they are a New York-based baseball show in Philadelphia. That's how dope they are. And they're the best show on the they're the best show on the lineup. You know what I mean? I hate to talk my shit, but you know what I mean? Not just because they're my brothers and everything, but you know what I'm saying? The truth is the truth. And all we do on this platform, Bert, we have a monopoly on the truth, and that's all we can do out here. So so shout out to The Divide, Mike and Corey, and shout out to Fox Sports The Gambler, shout out to Sean Brace and the crew over there. Rest in peace, Vin Scully, the legend, guys, the legend. So I wanted to do a sports broadcaster Mount Rushmore, and I will start with you, Bert. Who are the 4 greatest sports broadcasters? Maybe not greatest, but who deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore?
I mean, so the ones for me, Vin is up there. He is. You know, it was so tough picking this because I'm like, you know, being a Yankee fan, I was like, well, do I go with John Sterling for radio? But I mean, yeah, he's up there. But like, I kind of thought overall of individuals, I have covered like a bunch of sports and some of my favorite sports. But you know, I had to put Vin on there. Then I went with Doc Emmerich from a hockey standpoint, and hearing him call games not only, you know, in my area, but also nationally towards the end of his career before he retired. Al Michaels is the GOAT. He is. From calling the Miracle on Ice all the way through and handling the NFL as well. And honestly, his Olympic coverage and anything in between is just the best. And then, man, my last spot, I was a toss-up, honestly, between Dick Vitale and Bob Costas. Bob's another one of those like utility guys that can cover absolutely anything. But I mean, how do you leave off Dickie Vitale? I mean, it was so tough. So you know what? If we can meld their faces together as the 4th spot, we can go ahead and do that.
Yeah, that's an awesome list. Dwayne?
Al Michaels is on my list, so is Dick Vitale. Those 2 are relatively easy. Then I've remembered I'm not that old. So I don't know about all the groups. So my other 2 faces are more so just like based on like what I like. I love Gus Johnson. Like he's on my Mount Rushmore. He's like he makes anything exciting.
Yeah.
Like no matter what and he can like he makes anything exciting, whether it's college football, college basketball. He made Madden 12 exciting, which I loved. I kind of took him out of Madden 12. But Gus Johnson, and my 4th spot goes to John Madden just because he's fantastic. Yeah. Every game that John Madden called in football was a big game. And you know it was a big game if John Madden was in the booth. So those are my 4.
Yeah, Vince Scully, obviously the voice of baseball, definitive voice of baseball. I went with the definitive voice of basketball, and that's Marv Albert. He will definitely be on there. I went with the definitive voice of football and Pat Summerall as mine, and then I went with the definitive voice, the greatest, the most well-known broadcaster, announcer of all time from the world of professional wrestling, and that's good old JR, Jim Ross.
Yes, sir.
The voice,
Good old JR.
the voice of my childhood. I don't know anybody who doesn't know. By God, he broke him in half. Like everybody knows that. Like everybody knows that. Like you don't have to watch all these other sports. You know who JR is, and if JR doesn't get you, he's the voice of wrestling. Like it just doesn't. It doesn't sound the same. He is what professional wrestling, like at the height of professional wrestling, he was the voice where professional wrestling was the number one thing in the world. And he just doesn't sound the same without him.
Moment of wrestling has some fantastic clip of JR. Like
it's got to be, man. Like the greatest character. Wrestling's probably on a downswing in terms of popularity from mainstream. I enjoy it still, but in terms of mainstream acceptance, and JR was he's the voice of that. And so
not to mention he spent a good 2 or 3 years at the end of every Raw calling Triple H a son of a bitch, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's hilarious. It's stone cold. Like, I mean, just go watch any clip from like the 90s to early 2000s. Just listen to Jim Ross. It's amazing. So shout out to good old JR. And rest in peace, Vince Scully. Bert, do you have a game ball to give out?
Yeah, I do. It might be preemptive. There were a couple I could have. The New York Rangers, my beloved New York Rangers, finally named a captain for the first time in 4 years since trading away Ryan McDonough. So I have to give one game ball or game puck to now new captain of the New York Rangers, Jacob Trouba. I'm happy they named a captain. They kept it in line with what they have been with naming an American boy a captain too. I don't know if they're doing that on purpose, but it's just nice to see, U.S. hockey players make an impact on original six teams like they have the Rangers and good things to come for them. But I cannot ignore the fact that the GOAT herself, Serena Williams, might be her last she's playing at the U.S. Open.
Yes, yep. U.S. Open.
Yeah, the U.S. Open. And in doing so and understanding that this could very well be her last, I have to give her a preemptive game ball for everything she has done to impact that sport and anything around it for all professionals, but mainly, young girls too. It's just been fantastic. And as she takes time after this to, build her own business or, continue to be with her family, then, certainly all the best to her. But that's I think that's my definitive game ball.
Sweet. That's awesome. Yeah. Shout out to Serena. She is the queen, undisputed GOAT. Her accomplishments hasn't been like nobody can touch her like that. Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, like in terms of dominance of her craft at the height, men or women, she is the most dominant athlete. And she belongs on the Mt Rushmore of athletes. like in terms of like, she deserves to be on there because she's dominated her sport like no other man or woman. Dwayne Marcus, who's your game ball going to?
I think I have way too many game balls, but it's fine. I'm going to run through real quick.
Give them out.
I guess one of them, is like a collective. Diana Taurasi, we're not going to see her play basketball again this season because she's got the quad. But she's so damn good at what she does, so I got to give her a game ball. Give a game ball to Sue Bird because she played her last home game in Seattle a couple days ago. This is her last season, so she's getting ready for her final playoff push to get one more championship out there in Seattle. And then, completely unbiased, but also super biased, I have to give a game ball to the entire Washington Mystics team for making the playoffs and also getting 3 players on the all first WNBA defensive team and 2 players on the all WNBA team. It's just fucking incredible to watch. Yeah. Dwayne
Marcus is saying the Washington Mystics are going to win the WNBA title. You heard it here.
No, I'm not. I'm in the 8th title, but okay. I do think that the Mystics have a really good chance if they can just play consistent ball. No pun intended.
No, I got you.
Going to
I said at the beginning
next month, so that's fine.
Are you? Yeah. WNBA is talking about expansion. Philadelphia, get it together. Philly needs a team. Charlotte, bring back the Sting. Charlotte Sting need a team again. But Philly's never had a WNBA team. I would love for Philly to get a WNBA team. I'm sure LA will get another one, and I'm sure some other fucking.
I think they're trying to go back
for
to the old spots too.
They're going where?
I think they're trying to go back to the old spots too before they fully
okay.
advance. Like they'll probably try to take a trip back to Houston and Detroit to get the Shock and the Comets back, and then go out to like some new areas like Houston, and they should put a team in Canada. That'd be fun.
I'd be all for a Toronto. I'm not a fan of going back to. You've already done that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Charlotte, I'm cool with, but go to Toronto, go to Philly. You know what I mean? Go somewhere. I don't know if Denver. I don't think Denver has a team, but go to Denver.
You're not.
Like,
They do
yeah.
not.
I didn't think so. So yeah, do that. You want to support Brittany Griner? You want to support everything going on there? Go watch WNBA games. Go attend them. And
Attend them because they're really fun and
Yeah.
like super good ball. I don't know I know what it is, but like the WNBA gets so much unfair slack. Like it's really good ball. And some of the games, call me crazy, but like some of the games, if you go sit down and you watch them, are actually better than some of the NBA games.
I believe it.
Right there. Like no one wants to see the Lakers beat on the Kings. No one wants to see that. Like unless you're a Lakers fan. But like there's not much parity across the WNBA, and it's really good basketball.
Trust me, I have attended Sixers games because they were $12 while we were tanking. And you want to talk about bad basketball? I would have much rather go, and there was a damn near courtside, and I would much rather go to a WNBA Philly game than those awful Craig Bracken Sixers led teams. So my game ball, I told you, went to Dan Campbell. His first quote: "Don't be late. Don't be overweight. Don't disrespect your teammates or this game." And I swear to you, that could be used in every facet of life. God bless you, Dan Campbell, you beautiful bastard.